All right, y'all, let's take a look at this one. My man Gen, very dope channel, underrated. Please go sub to his channel. Makes a lot of dope documentary / interview style videos across a broad range of subjects. And he's GEN on YouTube. Sub to the channel. We're gonna check out his latest video. It's called "What Happened to Femininity." Let's see what they have to say in this one.
What do you think is like the ideal role of women in society?
Women should be allowed to be more masculine, feel free to be aggressive.
Women wanting to be like men. There is a lot of anger.
Norms are sort of broken. You can do whatever the hell you want.
In today's day and age, gender norms have been equalized.
Today I'm out here and the question that I'll be asking is, what do you think it means to be feminine?
Towards male imaging.
What do you think is like the ideal role of women?
She 100% was like piecing that together as she went along, just trying to make something up. There's no way she seriously meant that. Ain't no way.
Women in society.
Whatever you want to be. My girlfriend is a lot more feminine. My sister is a badass, wants to do construction.
What do you think is like the ideal role for men in society?
I think to an extent, like there should be some traditionality to it.
There's so many guys that I know that have no interest in working, that love kids and just want to stay at home.
What I notice, the straight men that I date, they tend to take on this super hyper masculine role that kind of a cover up for their ego.
It's like today there's a lot of confusion on what femininity is and even what a woman is. And if we can't have conversations that bring understanding, it can only hurt society. But in today's lack of nuance, and as a guy, am I even allowed to explore the topic of femininity without being considered sexist or being called gay? And can we find a balanced approach to gender dynamics, or is it too far gone? I guess we gon' see. Starting with a dating expert with a unique perspective.
My name is Blaine Anderson. I'm the founder and CEO of Dating by Blaine, and I teach men how to build confidence, authentically market themselves, and date women they're excited about.
What do you say to people who say you don't ask fish how to catch fish?
Who better to ask about what women are looking for than a woman? I think it's crazy to think that a woman wouldn't be able to speak to what women are looking for in dating.
What do you think are the big...
No, she's true on that. There's nothing wrong, you know, to ask and say, hey, you know, to get that kind of information. It makes sense. I'm not disputing that.
biggest struggles that men face in dating, and how does that differ from women?
A desirable woman is going to have a lot of options, so how is any one guy going to stand out?
Good
Where
girl,
for women,
Jen. I see you over there.
The challenge is different. In essence, is how is she going to tell if a guy is the right fit for her and relationship ready?
There's distinct challenges between men and women. I assume that we hold different values as well.
What do you think men generally value in women?
Men value women who don't play it cool and are willing to insert themselves and put themselves out there a little bit, which actually might not fall into the historically feminine category that you would think of.
I'd have to imagine like women are probably asking for help on how to date men. What do you usually tell them, and what do they usually come in with?
Women, I want them to realize that who they're attracted to may not be the person who is going to make a good partner.
That's actually probably the most base shit I've heard, and coming from her, because it's so true. You know how many times I've seen, and I'm sure we have seen on social media or just out and about in life, family, whatever, of someone, or maybe a friend, someone that you know or have seen that goes after someone that has a look because they like the look of them, but that person isn't right for them because they don't have those other things that person needs. Does that make sense? Like, a lot of people just chase after a lot of the very superficial / visual stuff, and they'll go after that, and the whole time they're not looking they're not looking deeper into it to see, does this person have anything more than just what you see and just what you know at face value. And I think a lot of times when people come out of bad relationships, or they're like habitual daters, and you ask them, like, describe the last couple of people you dated, you'll start to pick up like a trend as they describe them all. There's an archetype there, and you start to realize, like, you just got shitty mate selection abilities. Like, you're just not picking your people right, because you're basing it off of how they look largely, and you're not thinking about, do they offer stability? Are they a good person? Are they kind or loving? Do they care? Those things that I think will hold on a lot longer. And so people get lost in it, and then they cry about, oh, I can't find anybody.
with a lot of really great guys who are continually hearing, oh, you're such a nice guy, but I didn't feel a spark. Women
Jay said they date the same guy in different bodies. Yeah, it's essentially, yeah. That's kind of what it comes to, right? That's the whole idea of this archetype. The guys are all the same, yet they're different. On you know, if that makes sense. We see that a lot. This goes for both sides. I've seen guys that date the same type of women. Like, bro, you're crying about these money hungry hoes, and yet all you're talking to are money hungry hoes. So go find you the girl that's sitting at Starbucks reading a book. Go find the chick that's at the beauty supply store gathering material. You know what I'm saying? Like, go somewhere else, change the environment up. You'll find different women there that aren't on that same shit. But if all you're doing is pulling hoes from the club, bro, they gonna be, generally speaking, around the same kind of a vibe amongst them. You know what I'm saying? So you got to change and get out of your comfort circle. This goes for all people, like everyone. If you notice that you got bad situations going, you're almost dating the same type of person, just they look different. You need to change where you're going to meet them, because that's pretty much what's happening. You're in your own little bubble and you're dating in these confines and you're finding the same people. Yeah, it applies to men and women. Absolutely. Moon has a cult. What are you talking about?
need to give a chance for that to build, because it can build,
Kathy,
and the person who you have the spark with might not be a good long-term partner.
Seems like both genders can benefit.
Hold on, Kathy said, at this point, I want to know their MBTI personality type, attachment style, love languages, etc. You know what? It's actually not a bad idea, right? I think at this point, dating really needs to just be an application process where you fill in all of these questions and someone like compares and like lays them over. I guess that's what matchmakers do in some aspects, but
from taking on different roles. And so we'll come back to blame, but I was more so curious on the dating lives of the streets. How old are you, and what has your dating experience been like recently?
I'm 26, and dating apps are just like ready for the next step, but like, oh my God, left.
I'm 18. I'm very, very busy with school, so I don't really have time to date. A lot of times it's expected of the guy to do a lot of the work in the relationship and like ask women, like ask them out or whatever. I feel like a lot of people are struggling to have like genuine connections with people.
What do you think men value in women?
Big tits? No. They really value how women can be so in touch with their emotions and their feelings.
Someone who's nurturing and a good listener.
Yeah.
Men are a little less good at describing their emotions.
That makes sense, because I feel like sometimes I make myself so busy so I don't have to feel emotions. Sometimes just like being around my girlfriend, it like allows me to relax more, if that makes sense. What do you think women value in men?
And a nice like 6'2".
6 figures?
Yeah, 6-figure salaries. Yeah.
I think women value men that know what they want, be able to be vulnerable too. Not to say like be crying on their shoulder every day, but showing them glimpses that you can be vulnerable and that you can be trustworthy. And ultimately, I think most women just want safety.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a huge range of what the both feminine and masculine value, but I think what both can agree on is that they both like personalized gifts. What do you think?
Oh yes, of course.
I love a good gift.
When's the last time you gave like a customized present to someone you care about?
to a man. No. Ask her when you got it for a man. Ask her when the last time she got a gift for a man, not a family member, man, but like a you know.
A while, I think.
I mean, it's very hard to like build out like a customized gift. Well, you're in luck, because Kiddo Print makes it easy to print on demand, from designing your favorite hoodies, t-shirts,
Nice
and more,
plug.
to holding your finished product right at your doorstep. Do you want to go try it out? Just like a personalized gift, every relationship has a unique dynamic. But what's common amongst most today is a lack of trust between the masculine and the feminine. So
hold on, I see in chat they said referencing emotional intelligence. Can someone explain or define what exactly emotional intelligence is? I can't talk on a Monday, because a lot of times it's always brought up as a requirement, or rather more oftentimes a knock on men, is that they're not emotionally intelligent. So can we have that explained? I'm curious to see how the interpretation is here on that word. But it's hard to be with a woman that is good to you and educated, but looks like precious. Here's the thing. I mean, at some level, we all need attraction. You have to be attracted. You're right. Because if you're not attracted, they could be an amazing person. But if you're not truly attracted to them, it's going to lead to issues. We all know that in a relationship, intimacy and finances are like two of the biggest causes of breakup, divorces, stuff like that. So you need to have the intimacy in check, and that's only going to really come is if you are attracted and want your partner. So I get that part. You know what I'm saying? Any comments on the emotional intelligence? Anybody? Nobody. Everybody's quiet at this point. Okay. All right.
Curious on how valid that concern was. Have you ever cheated?
I've been cheated on, but I've never cheated.
No, but I've been cheated on.
So before I came out as gay, I was dating a boy and I made out with a girl at school and he found out and told the whole school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think men or women cheat more?
Men cheat.
I think the stereotype is men cheat more.
And although it's probably very hard to prove this because who the hell is going to admit to cheating? That's like breaking the #1 rule of becoming a good cheater. But it seems like at least based on this statistic, men do cheat more than women. But even if men are better cheaters, when it comes to making money on OF, women are clear. Many women have been incredibly successful on the platform like Corinna Koff.
48 hours.
Oh my fuck.
I made a little over $1 million.
And even though most are making only $150 a month, some broke university students are making upwards of tens of thousands a month. But besides all that, it raises the question, is this female empowerment or is it ruining their lives? One side argues that it gives women an ability to share content and challenge taboos around body positivity.
If there are women who have been told that their sexuality is something that they should be ashamed of, absolutely it's empowering.
While the other side argues that it takes away their true femininity and contributes to the social perception of women as sexual objects. Feminist legal scholar Catherine McKinnon argued that OF is a pimp and that is an instrument of patriarchal oppression. But with everything these days either over-exaggerated or under-reported, I had to assume that most women weren't even considering this path. So
I will say I've done a couple of videos on my other channel, the Mind of MoonDawg, which by the way, it's on YouTube. Check it all out. It's standalone commentary videos across a wide spectrum of topics. But I covered a couple of videos of some OnlyFans models that came out and said they regretted it. They had like breakdowns because of how it completely ruined their life and changed their lives and stuff like that. So that can very much be a thing. There's also a lot of information out there that says that for the vast majority of OF, women that do OF, they're like they said here in the thing, they're only making a couple $100 a month, 150, I think, whatever they said. They're not making a lot. It takes a lot to be a top tier creator, even in the sex worker space. You got to be on top of your marketing. You got to have some kind of a niche thing that you're doing that drives people to you. Otherwise, you're just doing the regular stuff that most other people are doing. You're just like in a wave of women with tits and ass everywhere. Like, there's got to be something unique about you to drive and be in that top 0.1% that some of those creators, tout on their Twitter and stuff like that. So it really presents this conundrum where, are you willing to risk the future of your life for this? You know what I'm saying? And I think the other part about this too that no one talks about is that it definitely is taking advantage of men. Men in particularly that are lonely, that have issues interacting with women, that they have to resort to porn and stuff to fulfill their desires and stuff like that. So like there's a whole nother side to this too, which is very interesting, that can be talked about forever. Escobar, what's up? Thank you for the gift, bro. No comment because people ain't trying to get canceled. Okay, Kathy said the capacity to be aware, control, and express one's emotions and to handle interpersonal relationship judiciously and empathetically. All right, thank you for copy pasting the definition off of Google. All right, let's catch back up on comments. All right, I think we're good. What else do we have here? But it's hard to be with a woman that is good to you and educated. Okay, I saw that. Okay, I caught up on the comments. Let's go.
Wanted to test that theory.
What's up, Kay?
What do you guys think about OnlyFans? Have you guys ever thought about making an OnlyFans yourself?
Yes. So many times. Yes, 100%.
Why have you thought so and why haven't you?
I'm an EMT, so I've been broke forever.
I don't know. Easy money, man. Like, we all for free. Why not for some money?
Oh, I don't know, because I feel like it's gotten relatively common, and I think there are ways to do it that could be safe, but I'm also 30 and I know what the ramifications are. I think I get nervous when younger people make OnlyFans just because maybe they don't realize that that's gonna be on the internet forever.
Forever. Your cheeks getting clapped is on the internet forever. When you have kids and then they grow up and then the other kids is like, oh, we saw your mom getting her cheeks clapped. Your kids, like, there's so many other aspects to it. It's, you know, and to each their own, but like, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a big thing to, you know what I mean? To not take into account.
I'm gonna say it was more than I thought. But when you consider the impact of money on individuals and the decisions that we make, is it a surprise? And so I wanted to keep exploring to see how economic and social pressures are influencing what femininity means today. How do you think modern feminism has impacted gender roles today?
I'm a feminist. Like, I'm all for women's rights. There's a large part of the feminist movement which...
By the way, I think most men, from a technical standpoint, are feminists. I would say I'm feminist in that I believe women should have equal rights. They should be able to do this, you know, want to go vote and do this. Hey, go ahead. I got a daughter. I want to be able to do whatever she wants to do, right? So I think in that regard, I think most men are cool with supporting women in that they have the ability to pursue the same kinds of things that we're able to pursue. And that's it. So, you know,
takes it too
I
far.
don't think it's a big
Do
deal.
you feel like you identify as a feminist then?
I feel like feminism is very rooted in women wanting to be like men. There is a lot of an underlying tone of like rage and like anger, and what I don't like about it also is like the separation it creates between feminine and masculine.
I think the like norms are sort of broken, and like you're gonna be a great mom one day. It's like, no, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Maybe gender roles are a lot more interchangeable now.
By the way, let me just clarify that what I said right there about the feminism thing, I'm meaning it from the very just basic concept of it all. Because then you get into like first, second, third wave feminism, which is like, to me, shit becomes really unhinged. And I think that's where he hasn't mentioned it just yet, but I think he's asking the questions that are surrounding it, which is, I think third wave feminism tends to come across as if we want to fight for our rights while shitting on men in the process. And it's like, wait, why you gotta shit on us in the process of you trying to get what you want? Like that's where I'm like, this kind of don't make sense. Like why you gotta shit on somebody else when you're trying to, you know, get what you're trying to get type shit. You know what I mean? I wholly support women, but the whole feminazi thing is too much. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm speaking to. It's like when you get into like third wave feminism, and it's like it's honestly obnoxious. Like everything is so much of again, it's like an attack on men, man. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm like, yo, I'm cool with all y'all doing what you want to do, but like, why do you got to try and shit on us in the process of you trying to get what you want? Like that's crazy. You know what I mean? It's right without responsibility, which is wrong. Yes. I mean, there's this common conversation talking point around voting. Women have the right to vote, yet they don't have skin in the game. If we're being completely objective about this, they don't have skin in the game because unlike men, women don't have to go into the selective service. Women can't be called in to fight and you know, drafted if we ever got to that point, the same way that men do, and it's our responsibility as part of voting. You have to be able to do this, and it's crazy because throughout all this period since women have been allowed to vote, that has never changed for them. I'm not suggesting that it should, but I'm merely pointing out the differences. Like we got more skin in the game. Our lives are on the line for this right, and they get it without the responsibility. You know what I mean?
How do you think that's impacting dating?
I work with a lot of women, you know, in their dating lives. One of the things that comes up the most is how
that's where you get lost. Like what?
To my feminine, at the same time protect myself, hold strong boundaries without being too masculine.
Yeah, it seems like the underlying word is like confusion, which is leading to either not knowing how to act maybe. And with that confusion, I was curious on how a multi-million-dollar dating expert was approaching balance.
I'm married. Obviously, I work. I have a business, so it's not like I'm a stay-at-home homemaker, but just naturally, like what I take on around the house and what I like to do is the more traditional feminine roles. I am more nurturing, where my husband maybe has some of the more masculine associated roles.
And so it seems like anything, balance is key, and that it looks different based on each individual's choices. But in a society with a lack of nuance, is achieving balance an easy thing to do today? Because again, what does femininity look like in the economic climate of today? Because even though there's still work to be done, women have made significant progress in the workplace worldwide. Thanks.
Yo, at this point, there's nothing women can't do that men can't do. From like legal and freedom, women have all the same. Right? Can anybody point to anything that women can't do right now that men still do? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure right now a woman could do anything that a man can do, has a right to do anything, vote, do this, participate in this, that, and the other. You know, if she wanted to go work on oil rig, she can go apply and work. She's got to be, you know, qualified for it, right? But I'm pretty sure at this point, there's nothing that women couldn't do. You know what I'm saying?
To a pivotal 2018 legislation, Iceland is leading the way. Companies employing 25 or more workers are required to show proof of equal pay, and non-compliance leads to a $500 a day fine. But despite this policy, there's criticism.
People ask the purpose of such an action. It is to demonstrate how important the work contribution of women is to society.
It's about gender equality. We've been fighting for it for decades.
Women don't work. Nothing works.
And on October 24, 2023, 100,000 people, including the Prime Minister, Katrin Jakobsdottir, went on a 24-hour strike of women not working.
It disrupted much of society, everything from schools to banks to public offices.
Shops, banks and schools across the Nordic nation were shut or opened for shorter hours as female staff stayed home.
And with many sectors shutting down, it showed just how crucial women are in the economy, especially in female-dominated industries. And with a surge of global communities like Natalie Ellis's Boss Babes, there's also been an increase in acceptance worldwide toward female entrepreneurs. But of course, there's also been some backlash.
And you may sit here and think that your career matters, but the truth is that when you're 52 and you're past it in a house by yourself, do you think the fact that you can afford a few extra Gucci bags is going to genuinely make you feel happy?
So it's clear that women are becoming just as involved as men in the worldwide economy. But with more time at work, whether it be through desire or necessity, how is it impacting the future of families? Do you guys want kids?
I think so. I want a big old family.
What would you like when you have a family?
A man who could pay my bills.
Do you want kids?
Yes.
Do you think like people around your age share it?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. The biggest turnoff right now is when women lead with the whole pay my bills. It makes everything sound transactional. Like from a man's perspective, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, man, do you really genuinely fuck with me, or is it just because I can take care of you? No one wants to feel like you're providing, you're doing this just because you benefit them. It's not authentic, and I think that puts off a lot of guys too. I think that's a lot of the argument, or it's at least at the basis of the argument that you see men when they criticize women in these $500 first date commentaries that happen to pop up on TikTok and Twitter all the time. Is like, yo, I'm not paying for that. Why? It's not that I don't got the bread. It's because, yo, like, I'm not gonna be used. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like at least make me feel like you fuck with me, and if it's there, then you're good. You're not trip. But it seems like right now everything is so transactional. You know what I mean? Like people just at this point, more people just need to just go into sex work and just offer their services for a fee and do it that way, because that's what they're trying to do without actually doing it. Oh, I need to make sure he could take care of me. Oh, what the fuck? It's crazy. Is it me? Most people don't get that once you're married, you both become one. You're supposed to, in theory, D-man. Yeah, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. But I'm telling you, as a man, and here's the thing, y'all, you know, and at the height of my career in the radio and the hip hop music industry, I'm out every night in the clubs, in all these high profile places and events and stuff like that. And I saw all the women. Before all this became talking points, I've seen them. Like, they will literally hunt motherfuckers down in the clubs. When they see somebody, they like acquire a target, they lock on, and then I've witnessed it. You know, and it's a certain type of woman. Like, let me be clear, it's a certain type of woman that has done this, but I've seen it. And because I've seen it, it made me kind of jaded in a way that I've been, I'll be more standoffish with a woman until I feel I know what she wants. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it authentic or is it like she trying to finesse type shit? You know what I mean? You gotta, and I think that's what I would offer men, you know, don't be thirsty. One, women don't like when you're thirsty. Two, give yourself a chance to like feel her out, bro. So you know if she's genuinely cares and likes you. And if she does, then take care of her, bro. Do what you got to do to show her love and look after her and shit like that. But there's people out here that don't deserve that shit. Real talk.
That desire.
I know a lot of my friends are delaying the choice, but they're still wanting to have a family eventually.
And out here, like Kendigo said, I feel like all women like for a guy that can hold them down financially and all. Yes, here's the thing. I'm not saying that inherently is wrong. Absolutely, it's fine for women to want to be able to be with a guy that can contribute financially, whether it's all of it or they go 50-50, whatever they decide to do in the relationship. Totally fine. I'm not saying that's an issue. What I'm saying is when they lead with, I just want a guy that's going to take care of me. So basically any motherfucker will do. Like, what the fuck is that about? You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's a crazy concept. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in currently. The diamonds are out there. Buried deep, though. True. That's true, Riku.
Like half of my girlfriends back there want kids, but the other half vehemently don't want children. Now, if a woman doesn't want kids, she's not wrong for making that decision. She's empowered for it.
Do you think that's maybe leading down a path of maybe devaluing the family unit?
I think having kids is really expensive to raise a child in modern day America. I mean, we're gonna have a major issue caring for older adults when we have fewer kids being born. But if women don't want to have kids, that's their decision.
Here's the thing. I've talked about this before. Women absolutely have full right to decide whether or not they want a kid or not. The problem is, from a macro view, there's been stories and reports coming out that Gen Z women in particular, some millennial women, the younger end of the millennial women, and then like a lot more Gen Zers women are anti-kid. Like they don't want to have kids. They don't ever want to have kids. They just focus on work and all that stuff. Again, on an individual basis, God bless, it's your choice, totally fine. But from a macro level, from a societal level, this is problematic, y'all. If we don't have enough babies born, and it's gonna be, it can lay the foundation for society crumbling. Japan is at the forefront of this whole thing because their death rate is outpacing the birth rate. Society can fall apart that way. So from a societal standpoint, it's not really good if there's not children being born, families, together and stuff like that. So it does present an interesting thought as to where this is going to lead in the next 10, 20 years. You know what I'm saying? If there's not enough kids being born, even
with more women working, it's to a point where dual incomes aren't.
Oh, and the other thing too is when they're saying it's expensive to have a kid right now. Bro, you don't think in the 1920s during the Great Depression it wasn't hard to have a kid? I think it's hard to have a child any point in history. You know what I'm saying? If you lived in the barbarian days, I'm sure it was fucking difficult to have a kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure in the 1800s it was difficult to have. I think at any point in our history, having children is inherently a difficult task to do. And when you factor that in with whatever your life situation is, whether you're super poor, if you're rich, it's a bit different, but there's still a level of work that goes into raising your children, so that they're not complete waste to society, right? No one wants to raise a kid and then be like the black sheep child or the child that becomes a criminal, or you know what I mean, like one of those types. So for them to be like, well, it's hard, it's expensive to have a kid now. I think it's expensive to have a kid at any point in history.
Becoming enough. And so even if the desire for family is there, in many ways the economic climate is preventing it. But when many millennial women say they prefer a pet over a kid, is it actually more so the social pressure that's influencing the decision? Because seriously, what explains the stark differences between generations? Your guys' parents together or divorced?
Mine are together.
Yeah, both together.
What were your guys' parents' gender roles like?
Was like the homemaker. My dad was in the military, so he was deployed a lot of the time. It was kind of forced a little bit.
So there wasn't as much choice as there might be today. Yeah. What would you like when you have a family?
A man who could pay my bills.
So you want kind of the similar thing?
I will stay at home. If he's out there making money, bringing home the bread, the bacon, I'll do whatever he needs.
And so is change always a good thing? Because when the pursuit of equality brings about choices that lead to confusion, how can we achieve that balance?
It seems like you struck that balance well, just based on how you described it. You run a business. I guess in your own relationship, maybe you like to show up in a different way. It seems like you're kind of an example of that based on what you've described.
I don't think there's obviously a right or a wrong way. Like, there might be men who want to show up in a more feminine way at home, but still want to be the breadwinner and work really hard, or vice versa.
Do you think traditional values then are positive or negative to society?
You know, sort of having a blueprint can be great, but if people are forced into that role, then it's obviously going to have a negative effect in their mental health. People have the best idea of who they are and who they're meant to be, and allowing them to follow that, whether it's within dating or career, is the best bet for society.
Because when we promote those embracing the norm.
You're from my man Gen. What happened to Femininity? Make sure you check him out again and sub to his channel. Overall, yeah, man, great video. I think, you know, as that one guy towards the end said here about there should definitely be equality under the law, and that's the foundation for all of us. 100% agree. Women should have their rights and protections just as much as men have them currently, and that should be standard. But I think it's important that we understand that there are differences, and it's not bad. You know, like, you have to think about however you want to think about how we got here in this world as a species, whether you believed it was through God or any way, just the fact that we are here and how we evolved. We evolved in a way that we are connected. Like, we need each other to move forward and to keep our species alive. We were designed in a way that where men are a certain way and have what they got, and women are another way, and I'm talking about like emotionally and mentally and behaviors, so on and so forth, and physically and stuff like that. There's differences, and we complement each other, and we work better together. And I think if we start to just embrace that, and there's nothing wrong with being different. I don't understand why there's some angles to the third wave feminism is trying to like erase that and make it seem as though we're all the way equal across the board. We're like, no, we're just factually not. We're different biologically, mentally, emotionally. There's differences there. And I get how a woman can be annoyed by a guy who, because he is not as thoughtful as, say, a woman would be, or forgetful. I get it, you know, and I get how a man can be annoyed with a woman who's just naggy and, you know, blah, 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 like talking too much and like, oh, chill out. Like, I don't, you know, I get it. We all do things that annoy each other, but at the end of the day, we are better off together. And I think it's important to find a way to make it work in whatever kind of relationship you are looking for. Find the people, find the person that is understanding and shares similar views. Doesn't have to be every view the same, right? But shares some similar views with you, and then just work through that process of figuring out how you best two can come together to make that work, bro. I think that's the